Hello everyone, UK Goosebumps here, and I'm happy to announce Price Guide 3.0. So everyone get ready, and we're going to be showing some extra rare books now. So yeah. So this is going to be a pretty long video, so get comfortable, and I hope you guys enjoy this. So let's start off with this first book. This book here. And I did make a whole video on this, but I think it's worth mentioning in this price guide. This is the Welcome to Dead House Spooky Bookmark Edition. So let's just go over the basics of what this is. So this is a Welcome to Dead House UK book, but as you can see there's red splatter in the bottom and it says free spooky bookmark inside. Now, like I explained in one of my other videos, I thought this here was the spooky bookmark. This turns out to be some sort of ultra rare Scholastic Book Fair UK bookmark, and not actually the bookmark that would be kept inside of this. So I'm still not sure what bookmark is in this book, like originally. No one knows at the moment, which me and a few others still trying to find this out. What we do know is this was printed before book 30, because the G logo hasn't changed. In the UK, they changed the G logo to a line going up. So the bookmark actually on here also doesn't have that. So that's why I thought it was part of this. But then I got another copy and I found this. The bookmark had been ripped out. And as you can see, so it's blue with red at the bottom. I'm guessing the red was probably the Scholastic thing. But we just don't know. So prices for this. Well, funnily enough, the two copies that I've seen listed are the two ones that I bought, and both only went for £2. But it's just because everyone thinks this is a normal Dead House book, and they wouldn't know that that means anything because it's such an obscure thing. So price-wise for this, again, it's one of those books that's really difficult to price range. But I would go without the bookmark, £10 to £15, depending on condition because of the rarity. With the bookmark, I would say upwards of £50, similar to that of the Haunted Mask, when it includes the mask inside, that can be worth a lot more. Or Goosebumps books with inserts in general can be worth a lot more. So yeah, that's the kind of price range you want to be looking at. So Goosebumps Spooky Bookmark Special. If anyone has any info on this or anything with the bookmark in it, I'd be happy to listen to your information or purchase a book with the bookmark inside off you. Thank you very much. So the next book we're going to be talking about is Den Store Grosse Boker. I think I'm saying that right. I'm sorry if I'm not. Sorry to my Norwegian fans if I've absolutely butchered that translation. But this book is a Norwegian Goosebumps book, and there's two people, I won't name them, I'm not sure if they want to be named, who are currently known to have this. This is probably one of the rarest and most unique Goosebumps books because of the fact that it has 26 exclusive Goosebumps stories inside, and it's incredibly hard to find. So there's quite a bit of information on this. So let's get straight into it. So what is this book? Where did it come from? What are the stories? What this book is, it translates to the Big Horror Book. Where did it come from? So in 1998, Norway or school in Norway maybe, or Scholastic or something in Norway, made something called the Big Writing Competition. And it's where 9th to 6th graders would write, even 6th to 9th graders, wrote horror stories based off of Goosebumps books, like the same kind of style. And the top 26, it seems, were chosen to go into this big horror book. So that's the origin story. The publisher is Ex Libris. I'm not too sure, again, I might be pronouncing that wrong, sorry about that. And yeah, it's a really cool cover. I do know the cover artist, I'll put her name up here. And yeah, it's very, very difficult to find. I'm not too sure what the stories are inside yet. I'm going to be getting a translation very soon. But let's go over costings for this and just prices in general. So cost-wise, I've seen two listings in like my time researching this. Both of them were on this site called Finn.co, which seems to be the Facebook marketplace of Norway or Finland. I'm not too sure. And I'll put the two listings here. So we have one for 50 KR and one for 100 KR. Both of them have sold. I'm not sure to where, I'm not sure to who. They do look extremely similar, so it could have been someone listing it for less. So they could be the same listing, but just one of them is listed for less. I'm not too sure, I can't tell. Both of the links are dead now, so I can't find them. And here's the website where the book was originally found. It's like a library web, a Norwegian or a Danish library website, I believe. That's where most of the information for this is found. But again, this website is quite difficult to get to. You have to have a reverse image searcher and stuff to be able to find it. Well, that's how I find it. How I found it anyway. Price-wise, I'm not sure what this price translates to into pounds or US dollars. 50 KR, I think that's probably the Norwegian currency, I'm not too sure. But I know from other sources and from other things I've heard, this book is probably worth upwards of $200 to $250. So at least £200, which is pretty mad for such a rare book. It's not as expensive as things like Sneak Preview, for example, but I do believe it's definitely worth it. It could even be worth more. Again, it's really difficult to price these things, but this one sort of has a definite price. Definitely more than $200, I would say. So yeah, really cool one. I'll make a whole video on this book about the translations of the stories and any other information that I get on it. But I think this is a really cool one to add into the price guide, and yeah. So the next thing we're going to be talking about, I briefly talked about on my YouTube, and I've talked about on my Instagram videos, but for anyone who wants a bit more in-depth information on them, this is the video. So these are the FBX Comics. I have 3 at the moment. And for what I know of right now, I think there's 36 issues with Goosebumps comic strips inside, I think. I know 18 were 100% discovered, so there's at least 18, but I'm pretty sure people know that there's 36. There's some original artwork right now up on eBay, and there's also one FBX actual listing on eBay, which I'll put by here. I think all of them are a bit overpriced, to be honest. I wouldn't necessarily pay this much. That's just my personal opinion, but I'll give you an average price for them. So the FBX comics were released, I think, in the early 2000s or late 90s, and they each have Goosebumps comic strips inside, which is really cool. Price-wise and rarity-wise, these are probably some of the rarest UK stuff out there. They're not going to pop up often. You'll maybe get 2 listings every year if you're lucky, maybe even 1. I've seen it go a year without any listings online. And price range for this is going to be, for things like this book, magazine even, not a book, for things like the Goosebumps actual special with Goosebumps on the front, these can go for about £100. As you can see here, one sold about 2 years ago. I screenshot all my listings that I find that are good. You can't find this on eBay anymore, it's gone, it was 2 years ago, but this one sold for £95. I haven't seen any others sell before, so there's not really much of a price range apart from this one, but I'd assume that all of them are in a similar price range. So maybe you're not even overpaying for that eBay listing. It just depends on how you think about it, really. But these are incredibly rare, so I'd say the least amount that they're worth if you have them is probably going to be £40. So I was wrong about that, sorry about that. Yeah, best places to find these. Well, the best places you're going to find these is going to be on eBay, Vinted, maybe if someone's selling magazines, in shops. I know that may seem unlikely. There's a lot of magazine shops in the UK where they have like these massive bins full of like magazines. You can just look through them. They might be in there. They're quite similar to some of the magazines you get in the UK. But other than that, there's not much information on them. I'd love to see a full collection of them. That would be awesome. But at the moment, I think I only know a few people who actually have them. But yeah, definitely keep on checking eBay every day. And price range wise, like I just said, it can fluctuate depending on what copy you want to get. But if you see one for cheap, get it straight away. So the second set of books we're going to be talking about are similar ones that I talked about. I think it was in my price guide number 1, I'd like to say. They are inserts, but these ones are a bit different. These are UK inserts, and these are actually quite rare, considering like how many were printed with inserts. A lot of kids would rip them out and everything. So I've got 3 noticeable ones that you should look out for and that I think are the most valuable and rare. And lots of people don't notice these. Only recently have I seen people posting about these. So, number 1 is we have the Series 2000 double-sided inserts. So what it is a Star Wars insert on one side, and on the other side is a Goosebumps fan club insert. As you can see, I'll get a better view for here now. That's what it looks like, and then there's the other side. Now these, currently what I know of, these come inside of Full Moon Fever and The Horrors of the Black Ring. Those are the two UK books that I know these come in at the moment, that insert, so definitely look out for this one. Another noticeable one is going to be It Came From Beneath the Sink. As you can see, all UK copies have this thing which says Special Edition See Inside. Now, a lot of the time people open this up and like, where's the special edition? It's because it's actually really difficult to find with the insert inside. But this one's actually a really cool one. And it is a Keep Out I've Got Goosebumps door hanger. And it also has, on the back, a list of Goosebumps books that you can tick off. So this is a really cool one. Again, just contact the seller, ask, is there an insert inside? Most people don't know that they're rare or valuable, but I don't see many of these with the insert inside anymore. Our third and probably my favourite insert are the collection book inserts. I only found out recently that there are actually inserts inside the collection books. I did not realise this, and this is my favourite one. It has The Revenge of the Law Gnomes, which is one of my favourite books, one of my favourite episodes, so I was so happy to get this. But this isn't a haul video, this is a price guide, so I'll show you what it looks like. So it's a thick book, so it's going to be about in the middle, but it is just a normal fan club insert. But collection books already, because they're so big, a lot of kids would... I've never seen a collection book this in amazing condition. I don't know why, I feel like some of the bigger books just got roughed around the edges a bit more from kids, because maybe they're just so big, if you get what I mean. But yeah, so having an insert in one of these, I'm not even sure how many were printed, so I say these are probably some of the rarest ones. So if I had to find a price for all of these guys here, it's going to be difficult. They're going to be worth more than just the original copies themselves, obviously. I'll put some pictures of some other UK inserts up here. There's only a few. But I would say, if, say, it's normally a £4 book, I'd ramp it up to maybe something like 10 or £15, depending on the edition. So for something like the Star Wars one, I'd maybe do something like 15. For the collection book one, I'd maybe even do something like 20. All it's going to do is go up in value. People are going to set the prices themselves at some point. So why don't you be the one to set them, basically? Some collectors out there is going to want it. So another one where you can kind of set the price, but don't take the mick. You know what I mean? So yeah, Goosebumps inserts, especially the UK books. Look out for them. So the next book we're going to be talking about are these. Now, these are kind of toys and items and books at the same time, because these are the Taco Bell activity, well, not really activity, Taco Bell kind of toy box things. Let me explain. So basically in 2009, Scholastic wanted to promote Horrorland and the reprints of the OG books that they released. So they teamed up with Taco Bell and they made these toys. This is what they look like sealed. And they're kind of little boxes with the front cover of a reprint on them. And inside, here you go, here's an example, would either be a toy or a book. So Curse of the Mummy's Tomb, this one had a book inside, and this is what the book looks like. It's a little paperback, tiny mini version of Curse of the Mummy's Tomb, and it has word searches in there. It has like, it's kind of like the Horrorland book Write Your Own Fright, where you have to finish writing the rest of the book, but it only has a little bit of the book printed inside. So it has a few activities, a few of the books inside, a little bit of the book inside, and price-wise, these are worth about 30 each. So there's a listing just for the book, and it's going for 40. So a little bit overpriced just for the book, but they are very difficult to find. I haven't seen listings for any others, apart from Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. So these are difficult to find, but they are really cool looking. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out for these. They are cool. I know Taco Bell did a few Goosebumps items over the years. Okay, so the next books or like comics we're going to be talking about are the Pesadillas, I think that's how you pronounce it, Spanish comics. Now, these were a set of 3, to my knowledge, Spanish comics that were released, and they had I think some of them were Goosebumps, like R.L. Stine written stories. I'm not sure, they were labelled as like Goosebumps stories. I'm not sure if they were written by Stine, but they certainly are exclusive Goosebumps stories. And the only information that I really managed to find out about some of these was one called I think it's Joe's Not a Monster or something like that. And there's not a whole lot of information on these, so I'll put some pictures up now of what the actual comic looks like, and then I'll go over like values and stuff. But it seems to be sort of along the lines of like the Halloween special UK comic, where it has a few exclusive stories inside. And a fun fact about this is actually one of the stories in a UK exclusive is actually in one of the Pesadillas comics. Again, sorry if I'm actually pronouncing that wrong. And the only listing I managed to find is this US listing, and it didn't actually sell, it's just ended. And it would normally say sold, but I'm not sure if it's actually sold, but it's up for $80 at the time. So that's what you're valuing these at. If they're this rare, where they don't pop up, that's kind of value we're looking at. Again, there's not a whole lot of information on these.